For 5 years, I chased Liu Xiao. I wrote him countless love songs. At every concert, I saved a seat just for him. He never came. Not once. Then, Leo spent a fortune to launch his first love's career, moving mountains for her in the entertainment world. That's when everyone finally understood. It wasn't that Liu Xiao was immune to love. It was just that the object of his affection wasn't me. For my final concert invitation, I just wanted some closure for all those years. He pushed the ticket back across the table to me, his tone gentle. I don't like loud places. I managed a smile and said, okay. The rejected ticket crumpled in my palm, just like my hopeless love. I thought to myself, after all these years of writing tragedies, maybe it's time for a change of tune. During rehearsal, my manager, Liz, handed me a bottle of water. What's the cruelest thing done to you in the name of love? Tell me below. First, the heart breaks. Then, karma breaks them. They hijacked the new endorsement deal. I froze. At my level, no one dared to hijack my deals anymore. A wave of unease washed over me. Liz sighed. They gave the full perfume campaign to Chloe Shin. Chloe Shin, who launched her career on fan votes and whose singing relied entirely on autotune. What gave her the right to steal a deal from me? No. I tightened my grip on the water bottle, a sour bitterness rising in my throat. I asked, was it Leo? Liz nodded. Chloe was signed to Leo's company, Oceanic Media, the same as me. The only person who had the power to pull a move like that was the big boss himself. The brand said they could offer us the cosmetics line instead. Liz added, as if they're trying to appease a beggar. I said, my voice flat. For a major brand to act this shamelessly, it's pathetic. Stella, I'm going to demand an explanation for this. Liz squeezed my hand. What Chloe's team did, it's a slap in the face. A public one. Chloe was Leo's first love. Their teenage romance was the stuff of legends, ending tragically because of the vast gap between their families. And Leo, he was now my fiancé, the man I had loved for years. Ever since I returned to the country, I had been Leo's devoted doormat, a fact known to everyone. At the peak of my career, I brought my entire team to Oceanic, and the commercial value I generated was undeniable. Liz was afraid I'd just swallow my anger for Leo's sake. I laughed, a self-mocking sound. I haven't sunk that low. Liz tapped my forehead. Don't talk about yourself like that. I'll handle this, I said. I'll ask Leo myself. Leo was in a meeting when I arrived at the company. Oceanic's main business was film investment. 5 years ago, Leo had a massive falling out with his father, left the family empire, and started this company from scratch. Every project he touched turned to gold. After I signed, Leo handed my career over to the head of the artists department, Ken Xia, to manage completely. I was practically an outsider at my own company. On the surface, he claimed he had no experience managing a singer's career, but everyone knew the truth. Leo was just avoiding me. I waited for 40 minutes before his meeting finally ended. He'd cut his hair short and was wearing a black leather jacket and dark blue jeans. He had a lazy, rebellious air, nothing like a typical CEO. The last time I saw him in a suit was at the premiere of Chloe's movie. He attended as the investor to personally support her, and by the end of the day, a hashtag pairing their names was trending. That was, of course, with his permission. He probably orchestrated it himself. Anyone else who dared use him for clout would have been publicly humiliated by Leo himself. The familiar, dull ache started in my heart. I was used to it. I kept my expression neutral and called out, Leo. He grunted in acknowledgement, asking politely, how long have you been waiting? 40 minutes. He gave a perfunctory sorry to keep you, took off his jacket, and sank into his office chair. If you need something, talk to Ken. I'm not familiar with your career development. I clenched my fists, then slowly relaxed them. The new perfume endorsement. They approached me first. Why was it given to Chloe? Leo raised an eyebrow, as if this was the first he'd heard of it. They approached you first. He didn't wait for an answer. Chloe asked me for it, so I gave it to her. I blinked, my mind slow to process. Ken didn't know, Leo continued, his tone unchanging, even trying to mediate as if I were just another employee. We've been in damage control all morning over another artist scandal. It was my call, don't blame him. Leo was completely shameless about it. He didn't care if I was hurt, nor did he mind taking the heat for it. That was always his attitude towards people he didn't care about. I knew this. I had known for years, but I just couldn't kill the hope inside me. My throat ached. I want that endorsement. Fine, Leo said, without a moment's hesitation. You're the biggest star in this company. All commercial deals are yours by priority. Go find Ken. And if the contract is good, sign it. Then what about Chloe? I looked at his handsome face. His eyelashes were thick, his eyes deep, set, his nose straight and high. When he looked at you, he seemed so focused, yet so utterly indifferent. A kind of innocent cruelty, especially towards me. Leo glanced at me. I'll give her something better. Didn't you just say I have priority on all deals? I'll compensate her out of my own pocket, he said with a shrug. Do you have a problem with that, Leo? I whispered, covering my face as my voice broke into a sob. I'm your fiancé. The air was silent for a few seconds before Leo sighed and walked over to me. He took my wrists and pulled my hands away from my face, his tone like he was speaking to a misbehaving little sister. Stella, you and I both know this engagement was forced on us by my father. He handed me a tissue, his voice gentle but cold. It never really counted. Don't throw a tantrum. All right, I sniffled, catching the faint, woody scent on him. I had chosen that cologne for him. After all these years, I was so used to his scent. He was a man of deep attachments. He could use the same cologne for a decade. The same went for people. 10 years after breaking up with Chloe, he was still looking out for her like this. If only that person were me. The faint scent was like a blade scraping my bones, making my heart ache. Once again, I found myself thinking, why couldn't it be me? I took a deep breath. Giving her the deal is a public humiliation. I won't swallow this, princess. That's enough, Leo said, his last bit of patience gone. He leaned back against his desk. She got into this business to make quick money for her mom's medical bills. You're just dabbling in this for fun, so stop comparing yourself to her. Okay, my ears rang with fury. I'm not dabbling. I'm serious about this. Fine, you're serious, Leo said, raising his hands in surrender. Whatever deal you want, go pick one out with Ken. Sign whatever you like. If there's something you want that we don't have, I'll pull the strings for you. The fire in me was doused by his cold words. I looked into his eyes, and a tide of icy disappointment washed over me. He truly didn't care about my career at all. He still thought I was just some rich girl playing at being a pop star, needing him to hand me deals to stay relevant. Leo, I said, my voice hoarse. It was never about the endorsement. It was about your attitude. Well, now you've seen it, he said, with his usual nonchalance. This is my attitude. I don't know how I got out of his office. It wasn't until I was in my car that I realized my hands and feet were ice cold. My fingertips were numb. I slowly rested my head on the steering wheel, trying to pull myself out of the despair. I was all too familiar with this feeling. I didn't sign the perfume deal, but a week later, Ken gave me a contract for a top-tier luxury car endorsement. I already had endorsements for high fashion, jewelry, and watches, but a car deal was the most valuable and the hardest to get, with the longest vetting period. Leo's compensation, I asked. No, he wasn't the type to compensate someone just to appease them. A flicker of sweetness and joy sparked in my heart, but I quickly suppressed it. I smiled wryly. All right, what do you need me to do? Ken rubbed his nose. The star of Irreversible, the film Oceanic is backing this year, just got into a scandal. We need you to produce the theme song to stabilize public opinion. Irreversible was a massive project. The producer was a veteran. The director and writer were both international award winners, and the team had been in pre-production for almost 2 years. But ultimately, it was a vanity project Leo had put together for Chloe. Chloe, who after 2 years in the business, couldn't sing or dance, and her acting was a complete mess, but her career was a fairy tale. In the circle of female stars, she was quickly becoming my biggest rival. That was Leo. When he loved someone, he would lift them to the heavens, protecting them from every harm. He never tried to hide it. I stared at the contract for a long time, the words blurring. A bitter sting shot from my nose to my eyes. My eyes ached. Fine, I said with a smile. A top-tier car deal for a theme song. I'm not the one losing out. Stella, Ken said, looking at me. If you don't want to smile, don't. Leo's a bastard. You've liked him for years. You know that better than anyone. Ken said, feelings are fickle. One day he might get tired of playing this game and toss her aside. But benefits, Stella, benefits are real. If Leo gives you something, you take it. That's the one good thing about him. He's generous. Ken handed me the pen. I know you're not happy. You feel like this car deal is just a scrap he's throwing you while he's busy pleasing Chloe. But you'd be an idiot not to take what's on the table. Who cares who he's promoting? I just feel so suffocated, I said, blinking hard to keep my voice steady. And now I have to go out of my way to help him promote his mistress. What can you do? You're the one who likes him. Ken sighed. Sign it. In the end, I signed. Afterward, I called Liz. Haven't you always wanted to start your own agency? Let's have a meeting this week. Liz was stunned by the sudden good news. All these years at Oceanic, I had suffered countless indignities, both public and private, but I was a lovesick fool, a glutton for punishment. For Leo, I would have swallowed my own teeth and blood. You've finally seen the light, Liz said, overjoyed. You have no idea how much your fans want you to open your own studio. I looked at my reflection in the glass window and forced a smile. I wrote the theme song for Irreversible in a week. It was easy for me. I have a library of beats. I can pull any one of them out and arrange a hit. Leo came to the studio on the day of the recording. I was wearing headphones, so I couldn't hear what he was saying through the glass. When I came out, Leo was leaning against the railing, opening a bottle of sparkling water. He handed it to me. I shook my head. I'm allergic to mint. Leo's hand paused, a look of surprise on his face. I didn't know if he was surprised that I was allergic to mint, or that I had actually refused him. After all, a glass bead he'd casually given me was something I treasured from age 20 to 25. You sang well. No, I should say, it sounds beautiful, Leo said with a smile. Now I believe Ken's annual reports. You really do make me this much money. It was a compliment, but I couldn't smile. I didn't even have the desire to say thank you. Today, Leo was dressed casually again, a black tee, shirt under a two-tone denim jacket, with trendy, unique accessories. He worked out regularly, boxing, and his abs and chest were lean and defined. Clothes looked good on him, tall and sexy. I couldn't stand being alone with him. My chest would ache with a familiar, bitter pain that had finally started to outweigh the desire to see him. I was about to make an excuse to leave when I heard him say, in an admiring tone, I always thought you were just thin. I see now you're actually in great shape, healthy and beautiful. I froze, my ears turning red against my will. I was wearing a tight, red crop top and black cargo pants, my abs fully exposed. I blinked slowly. I box, I said. Leo raised an eyebrow, genuinely surprised. You box? My rapidly beating heart skipped. My ears were still hot, but my fingertips were turning cold and numb. I had told him I learned to box specifically for him. I had invited him so many times to be my sparring partner, he wouldn't remember. Leo's phone rang. The ringtone was a violin melody. He glanced down lazily and answered. Hey, his voice was smiling. How strange. I already knew who was on the other end of the line. I was frozen to the spot, my soul numbly accepting the blows as I watched Leo pour all his love and patience onto another person. The food truck arrived, Leo said, playing with a ring on his finger. I sent it over to give you some support on set. Why is it all orange juice? Leo chuckled. Someone's playing dumb. Why else? You don't like coconut juice, do you? A roar, like something had completely shattered inside me. All myself, deception fell to pieces. I felt split in two. The pain so sharp it was like I was breathing blood. Leo talked to Chloe for 5 minutes, and then they ran out of things to say. He put his phone away and turned, only to find he was alone on the terrace. The opened, untouched bottle of mint sparkling water sat quietly beside him. Leo stared at it for a few seconds. For some reason, a wave of panic washed over him. I started rehearsing for my tour. Early mornings and late nights. The call came around noon. It was Ken himself. Stella, look at the trending topics. A big, red exploding tag was next to the #1 topic. Chloe Shun likes a hate post about Stella Sue. I read through the whole story, my face impassive, then asked calmly, so, what did you call me to say? Before Ken could speak, I continued, anyone with eyes can see who's in the wrong here. You're not going to ask me to clean up her mess, are you? Ken choked on his words. I let out a sarcastic laugh. The situation so absurd it was almost funny. Director Xia, search your conscience. How much money have I made for Oceanic over the years? And when something like this happens, you don't call Chloe, you call me. My voice rose to a shout. Do you all think I'm an idiot if I don't fucking lose my temper? I know, but what can I do? I'm just a goddamn employee at the end of the day. Ken said, Stella, this is Leo's decision. I'm powerless. It felt like drowning. The sounds around me became muffled and indistinct. A sharp pain starting from my heart squeezed my throat, trying to suffocate me. I hung up the phone and realized my nails had dug into my palm. I felt dizzy. My phone vibrated again. Leo, he got straight to the point. Stella, don't respond to the trending topic yet. I said nothing. Leo paused, his tone softening slightly. It's my fault. I didn't realize Chloe was such an idiot. I tried to speak several times before any sound came out. But you're running around cleaning up the mess for the idiot you speak of. Stella, she's an irreversible. That project has $1 billion gamble riding on it. I can't let it fail because of her. Leo's voice was steady. I won't let you lose out. I'll give you shares in the company. From now on, all of Oceanic's resources will go to you first. So, what do you want me to do? I actually laughed, worried she didn't hit me hard enough. You want me to turn the other cheek for her? Stella, we are talking about business. Stop being so emotional. Leo's tone turned uncharacteristically coaxing. This is the first time I'm asking you for a favor. Help me out this one time. Okay. A long, drawn out ringing filled my ears. I remembered a summer day when I was 20. I was scammed by a crooked reality show, facing a massive breach of contract fee. He had bent down, wiped my tears, and said with a smile, "It's not a big deal. I'll help you." I said, "Okay." The same answer as back then. Oceanic's PR machine went into overdrive. Chloe posted on her social media, tagging me, claiming she'd accidentally slipped her finger and added a cute emoji, begging for my forgiveness. I didn't respond. She had risen from a trainee show with Leo paving her way, leaving a trail of drama and enemies, combined with her lack of talent, propped up only by her pretty face and an innocent persona. This kind of petty, backstabbing move was bound to backfire. Besides, my fans weren't pushovers. This time, Oceanic didn't dare ask me to respond. They were probably afraid my fans would crash their website, but I knew Leo had another move up his sleeve. 2 weeks later, Oceanic launched a new music competition show, I Choose You. I was to be a mentor and the head producer, and among the contestants was Chloe Shin. The show premiered to an audience hungry for drama. I did not disappoint. I put Chloe in her place right away. During the live, streamed initial evaluations, I gave her an F. The entertainment industry is indeed a place to make quick money, but please, show the audience a little respect. My tone was as cold as my expression. Your dancing is out of sync. Your singing is off key. I'm genuinely curious. How did you even get famous? On camera, Chloe's face went pale. She bowed deeply to me, tears in her eyes, and promised to work harder. Off camera, she came to my dressing room, bringing afternoon tea for the entire staff. She personally handed me a coffee and a dessert, smiling graciously. I'm sorry, Producer Sue. Thank you for your guidance. Chloe had a sweet, innocent look, and Oceanic had built her entire persona around that. It had earned her the well-known title of the nation's first love, and she lived up to the name. I looked at her innocent face. I had first seen that face at 15, in a photo frame on Leo's desk. 10 years later, she was just as beautiful, if not more so. Leo always brings me treats from this shop when he visits me. I think they're delicious. She tilted her head. I didn't know your tastes, and when I asked Leo, he wasn't sure either, so I just picked the signature items. I hope you don't mind. The familiar tug of pain in my heart returned, a feeling I had grown to despise. I said thank you and asked, "Is there something you need?" Chloe paused for a second. Actually, I wanted to apologize in person. Last time was a genuine slip of the hand. I remained unmoved, my expression unchanged. Leo called and yelled at me. It scared me to death. Chloe smiled, revealing a dimple on her cheek. It was very sweet. I was in the wrong. I hope that after this apology, you'll go a little easier on me during the show. We're both Oceanic artists. After all, a rising tide lifts all boats. She was 3 years older than me, but I debuted at 20. Calling me senior was technically correct. It was in that moment that I turned to look in the mirror. 2 beautiful faces, both favored in their own way. One was flushed with success, the other was a mask of cold indifference. Her confidence was to be expected. To be so coddled and protected by Leo, anyone would feel invincible. At 18 and 28, the only 2 times in Leo's carefree life he had ever been serious, were both for her. I smiled. The face in the mirror was like thawing snow, pure and radiant. I said, "But what if I don't accept your apology?" I Choose You became a massive hit. Unfortunately, it wasn't the kind of hit Chloe wanted. I was merciless, dissecting her singing and dancing with a sharp, venomous tongue, tearing her down from every angle. My critiques were precise and devastating. Chloe had made too many enemies. To be so talentless and yet so high profile was a recipe for disaster. I just gave her a little push, and soon, she was being savaged by the entire internet. Ken called me countless times, begging me to go easy on her. For God's sake, you're in the same company, don't make it so ugly. I just laughed. Not for long. Ken's words caught in his throat. He asked carefully, "Stella, what do you mean?" I hung up. That night, Leo asked me to dinner. It was a rare invitation. In all these years, I could count the number of times on one hand. To my own shame, I felt a spark of joy. Old habits die hard. Even though I knew he was only doing it for Chloe, I still dressed up meticulously. I would indulge this one last craving before I left. Dinner was wonderful. We talked about everything: boxing tournaments, classic old songs, Nintendo. We clicked on every topic. Leo seemed surprised. At the end of the meal, he pushed a gift box toward me, his tone uncharacteristically sheepish. I didn't know your preferences, so I chose something popular, but after talking with you, I don't think you'll like it. It was a ruby bracelet, exquisite, luxurious, and expensive, but he was right. It wasn't my style. Next time, Leo said with a smile, I'll get you a gift you'll be completely satisfied with. I accepted the gift, and I believed him. When Leo truly wanted to please someone, he rarely failed, but there wouldn't be a next time. Leo drove me home. We parked in the garage. I knew the peaceful moment was about to break. Stella, you should know why I asked you here tonight, Leo said. Can you, for my sake, ease up on Chloe? I didn't speak. The projects Chloe is involved in, I've invested a lot. If her reputation tanks and irreversible flops, the company can't take that hit. Sometimes I really envy Chloe. How can someone be so lucky? I said with a sarcastic laugh. No matter what she does, there's always someone there to bail her out. Leo looked at me, his voice gentle. Stella, you're a smart woman. I'm talking to you about business, not emotions. You understand that. Then why am I the one who has to swallow all the grievances? A sharp emotion stung my eyes. I met his gaze, my own eyes welling with tears. You don't care, but I do. I'm a creator. My entire fucking career is built on emotions. Leo clicked his tongue, a flicker of irritation crossing his face, as if his mask of civility had been ripped away. How is that even comparable? I protect her to protect my investment. Who the hell doesn't have backing? Haven't you been relying on your father's protection all these years? All these projects are just about making money in the end. Leo's words came faster now, my tear-filled eyes pricking at him, a strange, unfamiliar panic breaking through his usual composure. He lost all reason in that moment, his words careless and cruel. What are you being so high and mighty about? Aren't those sentimental love songs you write also just to make money? The car fell silent. A tear fell from my eye, the sound deafeningly clear. I looked at him, my eyes red, and asked softly, have you ever listened to my songs? No answer. Surprisingly, I didn't feel that sad. The worst of the pain was already over, all the bitterness swallowed down. Leo and I had never truly connected. All these years, he had never bothered to get to know me. He remembered Chloe's birthday, knew her favorite foods. He could sit through her horribly acted, low-budget dramas without batting an eye, but he had never listened to my music. He thought my songs were just self-pitying drivel. How did it come to this? My tears wouldn't stop. That was the outlet for my soul, the expression of all my hard work, the vessel for all my joy and sorrow. Leo was visibly panicked. He leaned over, wiping away my tears with his thumb, coaxing me gently. Stella, I was wrong. I messed up. I shook my head, crying, and pushed his hand away. Leo caught my wrist, pulling me into a half-embrace. I was wrong. I'm a bastard. Stella, please stop crying. Okay. I couldn't hear him. The familiar woody scent stole my breath. The closer he got, the more it hurt. I whimpered, Leo, let me go. Such a sad sound, like the cry of a bird with a broken wing. The sound pierced him unexpectedly, and a wave of terror he had never felt before washed over him. He finally unlocked the doors. After that, Leo and Ken stopped calling. When the music show was at its peak popularity, I went back to the Shao family's old mansion for Leo's grandfather's 80th birthday. At the end of a long corridor, I ran into Leo, whom I hadn't seen in a month. He was wearing a modern, Chinese-style linen outfit, feeding fish in the pond. I nodded to him and called out, Mr. Shao. Leo raised an eyebrow, about to speak, but I had already lifted the bamboo curtain and walked away. During the tea ceremony after the banquet, Leo and I sat across from each other. When the server came to pour tea, the scent of mint filled the air. Leo glanced at me and said, change it. The server nodded and left to get a different tea. I just watched the tea ceremony, pretending not to hear. Old Mr. Shao suddenly asked, so when are we going to move forward with Leo and Stella's wedding? The lively room fell silent. Leo's smile didn't waver. Stella is still young, and both our careers are taking off. There's no rush. The same excuse. He'd been using it for nearly 5 years. But everyone knew. Leo just didn't want to get married. All these years, it was just me, wishing on my own. Halfway through, I left the tea room and went upstairs. On the balcony, Leo was talking with his father, or rather, arguing. I wasn't in the habit of eavesdropping, and I was about to turn and go back downstairs when I heard his father's angry voice. Not getting married? Are you just going to waste this girl's youth like this? Then came Leo's lazy reply. It was just a joke between our families. What's there to marry? If you want to get married so badly, why don't you do it? I stood there silently for a moment, then went downstairs without a sound. 20 minutes later, Leo texted me, telling me to come to his study. The study was filled with the scent of tea. Leo was playing with a string of prayer beads, his eyes lowered. When he saw me come in, he asked, "Were you outside just now?" I didn't answer, staring at the violin hanging behind him. "Can you play something for me?" Leo froze, then smiled, with the familiar dismissiveness I knew so well. "Oh, I can't play. I just bought it to look cool." He pulled a concert ticket from a folder and slid it across the desk towards me. "Stella, don't send me tickets anymore." His voice was gentle. "I don't like loud places." I smiled and said, "Okay." The rejected ticket crumpled in my palm, just like my hopeless love. I thought to myself, after all these years of writing tragedies, maybe it's time for a change of tune. A week later, the first stop of my concert tour kicked off. That night, Liz officially registered the Stella Sue Studio account on social media. The move was quiet, but too many people followed me. Within 3 hours, the hashtag Stella Sue Oceanic Media was trending. Less than 5 minutes later, Ken called me. "Stella," he said, his tone cautious and probing, "have you seen the trending topics?" I was closing my eyes, having my makeup removed. I laughed. Did Chloe like another hate post about me? What? Do I need to clean up her mess again? Ken felt a knife twist in his gut. He got straight to the point. "Your contract with the company is for 10 years. You know that, right?" "I know," I said. I'd been singing for 2 hours, and my throat was sore. My voice was lazy. "So I'm breaking it." Ken gasped. "For God's sake. Oceanic's PR is just starting to recover from the Chloe mess. Please don't add to the chaos." Did I not make myself clear? I cleared my throat. "I'm done being Oceanic's cash cow. I'm happy to pay the penalty fee and leave." Ken was trembling. "Stella, was it because you were unhappy with how we handled the Chloe situation? We can talk about this." "All right, too late," I said, picking up my phone. "I'm done being played for a fool by Oceanic." "Oh, and look, another topic is trending." A PR person quickly showed Ken the screen. An exploding tag. "Stella Sue announces her withdrawal from the show I Choose You." Ken's vision went black. "Why did you quit?" "Oh," I said, "because I hate Chloe Shin." "Stella, my dear Stella," Ken said, heartbroken. "You're not this impulsive." "I've always been like this," I said, a sudden realization dawning on me. Maybe because I used to like Leo so much, I could tolerate anything, which gave you the wrong impression. That's what happens when you're a doormat for too long. Everyone starts to take it for granted, but I'm actually a real pain in the ass, I said with a laugh. "You'll get to see that more and more." Director Xia. Ken's head was spinning. "I'm already fucking seeing it now." "Stella, let's talk properly," Ken pleaded. "Leo's on a business trip. He'll be back this afternoon. Come to the company. Let's all sit down and discuss this." "Okay." So familiar. I laughed out loud. Every single time. They used Leo to control me, because in the past, it worked every single time. The sickening, dull ache seized me again, but my voice was light and cheerful. "Sure." I was 40 minutes late to the meeting. When I entered, the entire conference room was waiting for me. Leo was at the head of the table, wearing a rare casual suit. "He looks good," I thought, appreciating him. A man with a body like that should always wear a suit. Ken quickly stood up, wanting to seat me next to Leo. I held up a hand and took the seat closest to the door. After pouring me tea, Ken began with a grave tone. "Stella, Oceanic has treated you well all these years." I let out an undisguised snort. "Say that again with your hand on your heart." Leo frowned and glanced at Ken, then took the folder from in front of him. It contained my career development reports. 5 years ago, I brought my own team here. "You, Mr. Shao," handed me over to Ken. "I ask you, Ken, did you ever have a plan for my career?" My team operated outside of Oceanic's structure, but the money I earned went into Oceanic's pockets. The resources and endorsements I brought in. How many other artists did you support with them? Don't tell me you don't know. Of course, back then, I could tolerate it. I liked Mr. Shao, so I was willing to be the fool. I deserved to be bullied. I looked around the room, pointing to each person. The PR department. All these years, every time I released a new album. Did you ever have a promotional plan for me? Forget everything else. Yesterday was the first stop of my tour. Even rival companies knew to send flower arrangements. Where was Oceanics? The room was dead silent. The head of PR stared down at his laptop. The artists department. The endorsement deals that came in over the years. The ones that weren't big enough for my status. You gave them to the artists under you. But you used my connections. Just Chloe alone. How many of my rejected deals did she get? You know the numbers, don't you? Ken opened his mouth but said nothing. The head of PR tried to placate me. Stella, the company's full attention is on the new irreversible project right now. We were neglectful. And that's our fault. But we're all in the same company. A rising tide lifts all boats. Don't talk about same company. I'm here today to break my contract. I'll gladly pay whatever the penalty is. I said, the doormat is done being a doormat. You've all taken enough advantage of me over the years. Be happy with what you got. Don't fucking push your luck. The conference room fell silent again. Even breathing seemed loud. Stella, Leo spoke, his voice gentle. Don't talk about yourself like that. My nose stung. I turned my face away and didn't speak. Leo closed the folder and tossed it on the table with a sharp slap. Every employee in the room flinched. By tomorrow, I want a report on everything Stella just said, Leo commanded, his usually smiling face now expressionless. Every single detail. Report everything. Don't make me find out myself. I let out a sarcastic laugh. Stella, this is my fault, Leo said, unfastening his tie with one hand. These past few years, my focus has been elsewhere. My complete negligence has damaged your interests. I'm going to restructure Oceanic from top to bottom. From now on, you will report directly to me. I will give you a satisfactory answer, Leo said, looking at me. The shares I promised you. We can draft the agreement today. With that, will you stay? I met his gaze across the long table. You did nothing when Chloe liked that hate post about me because of business interests. Now, you're asking me to stay, also because of business interests. A company that only values profit, where I could be replaced at any moment. It's a pretty disheartening place to be. Leo's expression didn't change. We stared at each other for a long time. After a moment, he smiled, his usual carefree demeanor returning, his tone coaxing. Stella, do me a favor. It's okay if you leave, but let's not make it so ugly. Alright, I just need a gesture. Something I can work with for PR. Well, now you've seen it, I said, a fine, sharp bitterness that was both painful and exhilarating coursing through me. This is my gesture. I heard a sharp intake of breath. I have half my net worth tied up in irreversible. Your father invested a lot, too, Leo said, rubbing his temples. I'd rather not bring this to our parents. The moment the words left his mouth, Ken covered his face. He was using my father to pressure me. A bad move. I wasn't even that disappointed. It was to be expected. Fine, go ahead, I said. Let's see what right he has to say anything to me. Ken leaned close to Leo and whispered. She had a falling out with her father a long time ago, 5 years ago, when she was hit with that massive penalty fee. Her father didn't do a thing. You're the one who bailed her out. Don't you remember? Leo looked shocked, his brow furrowed as he stared straight at me. Why didn't I know? Why else? It's not like I would shout from the rooftops that my father and I had completely disowned each other. When I first debuted, he tried to blacklist me on every platform. I said with a cold laugh, now that I've made it, what power do you think he has over me? Leo froze, the hand toying with his ring stopping mid-motion. He had really thought that all her achievements over the years were because her father was protecting her. The room fell silent for a third time. Leo lowered his eyes. After what felt like an eternity, he looked up, his tone perfectly gentle. Fine, you can go. I won't charge you the penalty fee, Mr. Shao. The entire conference room erupted. Ken shouted, Leo, do you know what you're saying? I looked up, stunned. Leo ignored them all, his eyes only on me, but his words were for all the employees. Tonight, you're all working late. 8 p.m. Conference room 2. We're planning irreversible. For now. Meeting dismissed. The standoff lasted a few seconds before the employees slowly packed up their laptops and left. Soon, it was just the two of us in the vast conference room. Leo asked, all this time, why didn't you tell me, Mr. Shao? I tried to find you many times. I said, 8 out of 10 times. You were avoiding me. The other 2 times, you would just say you didn't know anything about my career and to go find Ken. Leo was silent. He took a white velvet box from his suit jacket. I brought you a gift from my trip, he said, his voice low. I think you'll like this one, Mr. Shao. When you returned my concert ticket, I believe I understood your meaning. I stood up and smiled at him, but inside, it felt like I was brutally digging out a chronic, festering wound. leaving it open to the cold, bleeding air. It hurt, but it was also a relief. My voice was hoarse. Don't send any more gifts. My personal studio was officially launched. My fans were ecstatic, celebrating with city-wide giveaways and online raffles. The prize pool was nearly $1 million. I was shocked by the number. I went online and saw the raffle image. In huge letters, it said, "Celebrating the cure of our idol's terminal lovesickness." I was speechless. After leaving Oceanic, countless companies reached out to me. My sudden departure from the company and the show, despite my contract, was a blatant declaration to the world. Oceanic and I had completely burned our bridges. After a brand event, a reporter asked me, "Why did you leave Oceanic Media?" The flashes were a wall of white light. A wicked impulse took over me. Because my lovesickness was cured, the air went still for a second. Then the clamor rose to a new level. "So you're admitting you had feelings for Liu Xiao?" I dodged the question. The next microphone was shoved in my face. "Then why did you quit the variety show?" I stepped back. "Because I really hate Chloe Shin." I heard someone in the crowd of media whisper, "Holy shit, what a badass." The next question was shouted from the back. "What is Oceanic's Liu Xiao to you?" The camera flashes were almost blinding. I answered, "Material for my love songs." That night, I dominated the trending topics. Liz was both ecstatic and on the verge of a breakdown. "My God, it's like you've been reborn since you left Oceanic." "That's not it." I wanted to explain. "This is who I've always been. It's just that in all those years of loving Leo, I had slowly lost my edge." My fans were more direct. A comment under my post read, "From now on, we walk the path of fame, not the path of love. The Empress has returned to the palace." I laughed. I knew what my reputation had been these past few years, and I knew how frustrated my fans were with me. Just as the buzz was starting to die down, Leo liked the post with his personal account. The post about me calling him material for my love songs. Then, he followed me. The internet exploded. Leo's personal account wasn't just for show. On the contrary, it was full of his personality and character, book and song recommendations, snapshots from skiing and bungee jumping, photos of the aurora borealis, the breakfasts he made, his cat napping on his abs. It had everything. I had looked at his feed countless times, memorizing the time of each post, liking every single one. I had unilaterally followed him for 5 years, over 1,800 days. He wasn't the cold, aloof type online. He would occasionally follow people back. A pet blogger, another celebrity. The day Chloe debuted, he followed her and reposted her announcement with congratulations. But he had never followed me. The night he returned my concert ticket, I finally unfollowed him. And today, he had unilaterally followed me. He and I, we were never on the same path. The second stop of my tour was in another city. Many partners and brands sent flower arrangements, including Oceanic Media and Liu Xiao. Personally, Oceanic's wasn't a surprise, but Leo's, it was the first time in all these years. Liz stared at the arrangement from Leo, completely bewildered. Is he a masochist? What the hell is wrong with him? The makeup artist was setting my makeup. I was shaking with laughter. "You're going to make the setting powder fall off," she chided. As I rose to the stage on the lift, I closed my eyes and thought about all the years I had saved a seat for Leo at my concerts. But he never came. The roar of the fans grew from a blur to a clear, deafening wave. I won't be sad anymore, I thought. I opened my eyes. The lights converged on me. The crowd was roaring. A tsunami of love. All for me. The concert was a huge success. With 6 days until the next stop, I decided to stay in the city for a few days to gather inspiration. And then I ran into Leo at the hotel. It wasn't a huge surprise. He used to avoid me like the plague, to the point where he'd make up excuses for Ken to present me with awards at the company's annual galas. But his family's main corporation was based in this city, and this was the best hotel chain. I nodded. "Mr. Xiao." Leo let out a soft laugh. "You used to call me Leo." I continued wrapping the bandage around my hand. "We're just former boss and employee now." Leo was silent for a moment, then suddenly reached out a hand. "Let me help." I paused, then shook my head, turning slightly to avoid him. Leo retracted his hand, searching for something to say. "Is the tour over, Mr. Xiao?" I finally looked up at him. "I don't want to talk to you." Leo met my gaze, then turned and picked up a pair of boxing gloves. "Then let's have a match." A fire shot from my heart to my throat. I smiled. "Sure." His casual, matter of fact attitude infuriated me. Looking at his perpetually relaxed face, a wave of hatred I had never felt before threatened to consume me. It was this attitude, for the past 5 years. It had carelessly trampled on my love. The pain of offering up my heart only to have it rejected was suffocating every time I thought about it. A mix of love and hate burned inside me, but my eyes were cold and calm. I put on the gloves, my gaze fixed on him. Let's begin. There was a natural difference in strength between us, but I was fast. That was my advantage. And I didn't want to win. I just wanted to hit him. Leo wouldn't fight me seriously. His attitude was dismissive. He was still wearing his casual jeans. This was my chance. We stepped into the ring. At first, it was just a tentative back and forth. Leo even had the nerve to try and coach me with his punches, guiding me with his movements instead of words. I followed his lead. The next time I threw a punch, I looked up at him, smiled sweetly, and called out, "Leo." He froze for a second. I kicked him squarely in the crotch. He was caught completely off guard. The sharp pain made him double over, his elbow hitting the mat. By the rules, you're not allowed to attack at this point. But this wasn't a match. I punched him in the face. He turned his head, and I pressed my advantage, kicking him in the chest, then straddling his waist and wailing on him. Leo raised his gloves to defend himself. I had been training for 5 years. I had the strength, the technique, the rage, and the hatred. My punches were brutal, fueled by a blinding rage. At first, he tried to struggle, but under my fierce, hate-filled assault, he either gave up or ran out of steam. By the end, he was completely pinned, taking a savage beating. All I could hear was my own heavy breathing, all the grievances of the past few years, the unrequited love, the sleepless nights of bitter heartache, all being unleashed with every swing. A drop of sweat fell onto his face, clearing a path through the blood. He was bleeding from his nose. My hair was soaked with sweat. My hands were weak, my breathing heavy. I looked down at the man beneath me. He had finally lost his usual composure. He was bruised, bloody, and beaten. When I stopped, he opened his eyes and said hoarsely, "Get off." I took off my gloves, wiped the sweat from my chin, and was about to get up when I felt something. Something was pressing against me. A roar went through my head. A wave of heat shot up my neck to my face and ears. I couldn't tell if it was anger or shame. I gritted my teeth, got up, and threw the gloves in his face, shouting, "Leo, are you some kind of fucking pervert? To get hard while in that much pain? Why didn't my kick just finish the job?" Leo caught the gloves I threw, using his wrist to cover his face. He grunted, "Yeah, fuck." A furious fire nearly consumed my reason. I kicked him hard. "You psycho." He grunted again. I wiped my face. There's no reasoning with a psycho. I turned and walked away. As I reached the door, I heard Leo's low, hoarse laugh. My vision went black. For 5 years, I was in love with a goddamn lunatic. That night, Leo updated his social media, a picture of a blood-stained boxing glove, and he tagged me. Caption: "That was great. Let's do it again." My head was throbbing. Liz cautiously asked me what to do. She was a veteran in the business, a gold standard manager who had handled countless PR crises, but she had never seen anything this insane. I sneered, "Let him have his breakdown. Ignore it." Less than 10 minutes later, I got a call from Ken. I answered. "What?" "Director Xia still has the magnanimity to call me." After I left Oceanic, Leo had restructured the company from top to bottom. He had also replaced the female lead of Irreversible. The project's biggest investor pulled out. Just when everyone thought Oceanic was crippled, Irreversible announced its new female lead, a legendary actress who had been in retirement for 5 years, and the male lead was her only rumored love interest, an equally legendary actor they hadn't spoken to since her retirement. With one move, Irreversible was saved from the brink of death. Then, for the show I Choose You, Leo promoted the talentless Chloe to the mentor's seat, making her the head PD with the power to decide every contestant's fate, giving the least capable person the most power. It was a blatant, brutal setup. I Choose You exploded in popularity for a second time. Like Chloe herself, it was a mess, but a famous, trending mess. Chloe was a pawn that Leo had sacrificed without hesitation for a greater profit. Her career was essentially over. Everyone had once thought they could be special to Leo, the one and only person in his heart, including the old me. I too had once believed Chloe was the exception, and I had foolishly dreamed that I could become the exception. Ken sighed. "Do you still need people for your studio? Can I jump ship?" I let out an undisguised sneer. "No thanks. We don't have room for a big shot like you." "I think Leo's lost his mind," Ken said. "When he promoted Chloe to save the show, I objected. We had invested too much time and resources into her. I couldn't stand to see it all thrown away." I couldn't tell what Ken was getting at, so I stayed silent. To try and change his mind, I even told him, "She's someone you used to like." You went to all this trouble to pave the way for her. To abandon her like this is too heartless. And then, Ken's voice grew agitated. That son of a bitch just laughed and said, "So this is what you all think it looks like when I'm promoting someone I like." My heart skipped a beat. A premonition, one I couldn't tell was good or bad, swept over me. I was stunned. I asked him like a complete moron, "Then what would you do if you were promoting someone you actually liked?" Ken shouted, and Leo just gave me this cryptic smile and said, "You're about to find out." He's been repeating that ever since, Ken said, his voice a wail of despair. I was so stupid. I let him trick me onto this sinking ship. What did I do to deserve such an unpredictable, insane boss? I remained silent. Ken finally realized something was wrong. "Stella, why aren't you saying anything?" "Because I'm trying not to swear." Ken cleared his throat and changed the subject. "By the way, he came back from his trip today, all beaten up, bruised and swollen, and he just strolled into the company like that." I said, "Oh, I did that." Ken, no wonder he seemed to be in a good mood. I thought he'd gone full psycho. "Hasn't he?" Ken let out a long sigh. "Do you think Leo is a masochist?" I looked at my reflection in the floor, ceiling window and said nothing. I had chased Leo for too long, and been ignored by him for too long. And now, just when I had finally given up, he was responding. At first, I felt a despicable spark of joy, but then, it turned into a deep disappointment and frustration, and a lingering nausea in my chest. Why not sooner? Why so casual? Why take the heart I offered up, throw it away, and then pick it back up again? Does the world fucking revolve around Liu Xiao? Who the hell does he think he is? Remembering his nonchalant face, the hatred was so sharp. I said, enunciating every word, "A confession that comes too late is worth less than weeds." The day after my call with Ken, I received a collaboration offer to produce the theme song for a globally famous, wildly popular animated IP. I had loved this franchise for over a decade. I had tons of merchandise. As part of the deal, they sent me a rare, limited edition set of collectibles, the kind with only 100 sets released worldwide. Liz was floored by the surprise. This IP was so massive, it almost never collaborated with celebrities. It didn't need to. This was a once-in-a-lifetime, top-tier opportunity. I stared at the merchandise, trying to ignore the suspicion in my heart, but when I saw Leo at the recording studio, that suspicion was confirmed. The official announcement had already been made. I was already in the studio. This was work. I had benefited. Adults don't act on impulse. I repeated this to myself over and over, just to be able to shake his hand with a neutral expression as the collaborator introduced us. The person in charge was a foreigner who knew nothing of our history. He enthusiastically explained that the entire collaboration was thanks to Leo pulling the strings. Leo, uncharacteristically, was wearing a casual suit. The bruises from my beating hadn't even faded, but his composure was, as always, unshakable. But he didn't speak to me. After the pleasantries, he left, as if he were just an investor dropping by for a routine check. Next, I received an invitation to be a guest performer at the country's most prestigious music festival. Liz told me directly, Leo built the bridge. Without him, I never would have gotten this chance. For years I had been in a feud with the festival's founder, a rock legend who had a huge influence on my own creative philosophy. It all started when a track on my debut album used the same public domain sample as one of his songs. It was a common practice, but at the time, I was a rookie being suppressed by my own father. A smear campaign quickly erupted, accusing me of plagiarism. The legend knew I was innocent. He even followed me on social media after I posted a long explanation. The matter should have ended there, but 2 months later, at the country's biggest music awards, he was a shoe-in for Album of the Year, only to lose to me. It was a power play by the award show sponsors, who he was feuding with. I was just a pawn. If Oceanic had handled the PR correctly, things wouldn't have gotten so ugly between us, but Oceanic hadn't. That year, they had just signed Chloe. She had tripped on the red carpet, and Oceanic's entire PR team was busy cleaning up her mess. I called Leo. "You don't actually think I'm going to be grateful, do you?" I was shaking with anger. "Leo, this is what Oceanic fucking owes me." "I know." Leo's voice was as gentle as ever. "It doesn't matter if you go to the festival or not. Do whatever you want. The festival founder won't have any objections. He's a huge admirer of yours, and he feels very guilty about what happened." "Stella," Leo said my name. "What you've lost, I'll get it all back for you. What you want, I'll give it all to you. I want you to stay away from me," I said, my voice cold. "The sight of you makes me sick. Don't ever appear in front of me again." I hung up, blocked and deleted all of Leo's contact information, but the anger only grew, making my head spin. I threw my phone at the ground with all my might. After securing the collaboration for me, Leo seemed to have truly lost his mind. He started a column on his personal social media, publishing an article every week analyzing my songs. He covered everything: the arrangement, the creative concept, the lyrical meaning. I couldn't resist reading one. Afterward, I was silent. He was a professional. His interpretations were eerily close to my own. He also started sending a relentless stream of things to my studio. Not jewelry or designer bags. He sent me uncensored, explicit doujinshi of my favorite ship, a signed vinyl album from a musician I'd idolized for over a decade, a signed glove from my favorite boxer, a custom-made guitar from a famous workshop that had a 3-year waiting list, and, parked downstairs from the studio, a custom-built motorcycle, my favorite brand, my favorite color, a model that had been discontinued for 5 years. My name was even engraved on the helmet and the tail. I stood with my arms crossed, staring at the beautiful, audacious machine. My go-to music arranger walked by with a cup of instant noodles. "This isn't just a sugar-coated bullet anymore," he said. "This is a fucking bomb." I took a deep breath, covered my face, and said in anguish, "Send it back. Send it all back. I don't want to see it." Liz said, "Okay, what about the box of uncensored?" "Definitely not safe for work doujinshi." I was silent. Years ago, I had tried to buy one, but it was confiscated by customs. Some asshole leaked it online, causing a huge scandal. "Send it all back," I said, turning to leave. As soon as possible. One wave was sent back. Another arrived, signed vinyls from artists I'd been trying to find for years, rare Lego collector's sets, the handmade chocolates I bought every time I traveled abroad. Every 3 days, a new delivery. If we sent it back, there would be a 2-day pause. Then something new would arrive, relentlessly. At the same time, a flood of collaboration offers poured in: magazine shoots, show invitations, endorsement deals, collaboration requests from other artists, even film scripts. All of them were top tier. Liz could refuse the first one, the second one pained her. By the third, she was in agony. "Please, stop torturing me," she wailed. "Do you have any idea how much willpower it takes to spit out a delicious piece of meat that's been put right in your mouth?" I called Ken. "Is Oceanic going out of business? Why are you throwing so many good resources at me? Go ask our boss." "I'm just an employee," Ken said, his voice weary. "A lot of these are from his personal connections. Anyway, but it doesn't make much of a difference. He screens every offer that comes to Oceanic now. If it's suitable, he sends it straight to you." My head ached. What the hell does he want? An old house on fire, Ken sneered. 4 years. Nothing. Now that it's burning, it's a goddamn inferno. I hung up, exhausted. That night, Leo was trending. His social media account was basically a fan page for me now. After he reposted my new song, a fan asked, "Are you in the crematorium now? Is that why you're burning so hot?" Leo replied, "Yeah, burning the whole house down with me." I told Liz to accept the offers that were a good fit. "They're all a good fit," Liz said, then paused. "Are we just going to accept them?" I nodded. "Take the resources. I was a workhorse for Oceanic for years. I've earned this." "Ignore Leo. Don't accept anything he sends personally," I said. "Whatever he does, act like he doesn't exist. Act like he doesn't exist." That was Leo's strategy for dealing with my pursuit for the past 5 years. No one knew it better than me. In December, I was nominated for Singer of the Year. On the night of the awards, a light snow was falling. The designer gown they sent was, as always, beautiful and freezing, but that was the job. I was choosing a pair of high heels when Liz came in, holding a jewelry box, from Leo, and he must have pulled some strings. "You don't have to walk the red carpet tonight." The jewelry was from the luxury brand I endorsed, but it was from their most prestigious, classic crown collection. It was too valuable. The brand would never lend this collection to a celebrity, which meant Leo had bought it. The event itself was sponsored by Oceanic. I stared at the box for a few seconds, then closed it and handed it to Liz. "It's beautiful. Send it back." Liz took it without a word. She was an expert at returning things by now, and based on past experience, something even more extravagant would arrive within 3 days. That was Leo. If you rejected something, he would reflect and adjust. The next thing he sent would always be better. It was interesting. The award ceremony lasted for 2 hours. I was the final act. When the host announced my name, I stood up and bowed, but the audience suddenly gasped. My eye twitched. I looked up and saw Leo on the big screen. dressed in a formal suit, impeccably dressed, down to the pocket square and cufflinks, a classic white shirt and black suit. He looked like he was attending a wedding. The host was introducing him. My smiling face immediately turned cold. He hadn't presented any of the other awards. He wasn't supposed to be on stage. The host called my name with a smile. I didn't move, just stared at Leo from across the audience. The lively atmosphere quickly quieted, turning awkward. The host was losing control of the room. He called my name again. I lowered my eyes, gathered my skirt, and walked to the stage. The audience erupted in applause. Leo was already waiting at the steps. When he saw me, he offered his hand. The familiar woody scent enveloped me again. It had only been half a year since I'd left Oceanic, but it felt like a lifetime. I nodded politely at him and said, "Thank you," but I didn't take his hand. Leo's hand paused, then he slowly retracted it. We walked side by side to the center of the stage. The rest was a blur. I accepted the award from him and gave a standard, gracious acceptance speech. It was all very proper, except for my cold, expressionless face. There was no joy in it. Afterward, I left through the underground garage, but it wasn't my car that was waiting. Leo opened the car door and draped a black down jacket over my shoulders. "It's too crowded at the exit. Your car is stuck in traffic," Leo said, his voice gentle, almost a whisper. He asked, "It's too cold out here. Can you get in my car first, please?" I was in a red strapless gown, the high heels digging into my feet. I didn't want to be dramatic. I was about to walk away, but I stumbled. Leo caught me. The next second, I heard him murmur, "Forgive me," and the world spun. He swept me up into his arms. I swallowed a gasp, my fingers lightly gripping his arm as he carried me to the car. He gently placed me on the seat, took off his suit jacket and draped it over my lap, then knelt down to take off my heels. The movements were so smooth. By the time I processed what was happening, my feet were in a pair of fuzzy flat slippers. I shifted my legs. Where did these come from? Leo got in the car. The driver started the engine. "I had someone buy them," he said. "You don't like high heels, do you?" I fell silent again, texting Liz our new meeting location and leaning back against the seat, closing my eyes. The car was warm, filled with Leo's faint, woody scent. After a moment, he asked, "Are you angry?" "Why would I be?" I said, my voice lazy and dismissive, just like he used to be with me. Leo felt it. He fell silent. 20 minutes later, the car stopped. I was about to get up, but he gently caught my wrist. His voice was pleading. "Stella, can you give me a chance?" he said, his voice low. "I'm serious." I sat back down, facing him. "Of course I know you're serious." Leo was such a proud man. His love and hate were so direct. For him to humble himself like this, I never doubted his sincerity. "But," I smiled, "just because you're serious, does that mean I have to accept, Mr. Shao?" I brushed his hand away. "Those 5 years I chased you, I was serious too. Did you accept?" Leo shuddered. He looked me in the eye and said, "It's okay. I'll wait. You could chase me for 5 years. So can I. You'll need something eventually, whether it's physical or emotional. I can wait for the day you need me." I saw my reflection in his eyes. The sickening pain in my heart, the one that made me want to vomit, was gone, so it could disappear. I said, indifferently, "And why would I choose you?" "Because I'm good in bed and not clingy." My eyes widened. "Are you sick?" Leo smiled a little. "I've always been sick." "It's not like you don't know that, Stella," he coaxed. "Why not choose me, even if it's just for fun?" I looked him up and down, openly appraising him. "Why would I choose you? Are you the only man in the world? What makes you so special? The ones better looking than me don't have my body. The ones with a better body aren't as rich. The ones who are richer aren't as generous. And the ones who are more generous," he paused, looking at me and said softly, "they don't love you as much as I do." "Not necessarily." I turned my head away. "Maybe I'll meet someone and just marry him." "Oh," Leo said, "then I'll be the other man." His response made me laugh out of sheer exasperation. This typical, infuriatingly confident Leo. "Is this your idea of pursuing someone?" A tearful confession and a kneeling apology are the most useless and least costly actions, Leo said. "I have many ways to earn your forgiveness, many ways to win you back, and besides, if I really did cry and kneel before you, it would only make you hate me and look down on me more. It's pointless." I raised an eyebrow. "How do you know if you don't try?" The words had barely left my mouth when Leo rose from his seat and knelt on both knees before me. It was so sudden, my legs instinctively recoiled. He took my hand, looked up at me, and said earnestly, "Stella, can you give me one more chance?" I looked down at him and said, word by word. Leo, you've got some serious nerve. Leo's brow twitched. He seemed to want to say something, but swallowed it down. I kicked his knee with the tip of my shoe. Were you about to make a dirty joke? We haven't even hugged. How could I offend you? Leo suddenly seemed to give up. The straight spine he had maintained while kneeling slumped. He looked at me. I've been desperate to see you these past 6 months, but I knew that if I did, you'd just push me further away, but I couldn't help it anymore, he said with a self-deprecating smile. I haven't dressed this formally in almost 10 years. When I was tying my tie, I realized I was doing it to please you, and I actually felt happy. I crossed my arms over my chest, a defensive posture. I didn't speak. The sad moment lasted only a few seconds before Leo suddenly said, I have another advantage. I'm a virgin. I was speechless. I covered my face, exasperated. Didn't you just say you were good in bed? I have a wealth of theoretical knowledge. I'm a fast learner. I work out every day, and my hardware is excellent. Of course I'll be good, Leo said, still kneeling. Stella, consider me. I'm clean, useful, and I'll listen to you. The complex knot of emotions in my chest was completely undone. I looked at him, my face blank, then suddenly said, you should know what stands between us, right? It was a love that was never cherished, the pain of a heart that was ignored. It was 5 years of time, 5 years. I couldn't forgive that so easily. It would make my love feel cheap. What lay between us was more than just silence. He knew. I turned and got out of the car without another word. A week later, the third stop of my tour began. As I was getting ready in my dressing room, Ken came to see me, holding a bouquet of flowers. Behind him was Chloe. Ken met with me alone first. He humbled himself completely. On behalf of Oceanic Media, I want to express our gratitude and deepest apologies for the past few years. I was taken aback. He sat across from me, dropping the formalities. His apology was sincere, his words simple. He even told me about the personnel changes at Oceanic after I left. Then, he took out a folder. I still hope you'll look at this. I know you don't want to accept it, but from my personal perspective, I hope you do. It's not like you're losing anything. I opened it. When I saw the percentage of shares, I looked up, shocked. Has Leo lost his mind? Ken shrugged. For a profit-driven businessman to bleed like this, I guess this is his way of expressing love. And, do you want to see Chloe? Bringing her here was my decision. We invested too much in her in the early days. I'm not Leo. I can't just abandon it all. Ken said, she's having a hard time. After being cast aside, she can't even get a meeting with Leo. If she wants to make a comeback, she has to beg you. I looked at him silently. That hate post she liked. It was a fabricated, obscene rumor about me. I know. Ken stood up and bowed to me. I apologize to you again. Who decided that being kind meant being silent? If you've ever had to silence your own voice to keep the peace, or dim your light so others could feel bright, let me know in the comments that you're done playing small. Your truth has a right to take up space, and their karma is long overdue. Subscribe to Red Karma for more stories of unapologetic power. It's your turn to write the ending.